Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. Now let's begin. President Muhammadu Buhari has left Abuja for Guinea-Bissau on a day official visit. He was seen off at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by top government officials. While in Bissau, the president is expected to be decorated with the country's highest honor in recognition of his contributions to the political stability of the West African nation. President Buhari will also inaugurate a major road in the country's capital city named after him and hold bilateral talks with President Umaru Sissoco Embalo on issues of mutual interest. The visit will highlight President Buhari's leadership role in the West Coast, particularly in Guinea-Bissau, regular counseling and motivating leaders on virtues of peace, political inclusiveness, integrity, and stimulating a strong economy that drives collective prosperity. And as Vice President Yemi Osinbajo ends a 3-day bilateral visit to Vietnam, President Nguyen Xuan says Vietnam prioritizes strengthening ties with Nigeria. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Climbing high, hand in hand, and with a big smile, signaling mutual respect by the two countries for each other. As Vice President Yemi Osinbajo arrives at the Vietnamese seat of government and was received by the Vietnamese leader, both leaders looked back to where the journey of the two countries began, where it is now, and what the future holds. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo hails the development in the bilateral ties and says this has been deepened in a substantive and effective manner.
Just as we have said at all the meetings that I had, it is time for a new level in that relationship. It's time for stronger bonds. It's time for more cooperation. It's time for more collaboration. And I think we're ready to do that. We in Nigeria are ready to get even more close in business, in commerce, in agriculture, technology, in various other ways.
While commending the Vietnamese government for being a jolly good fellow, he says Nigeria will continue to be a worthy partner. The two agreed to exchanging of visits by leadership of both countries to raise mutual understanding and trust and enhance cooperation opportunities, especially in the economy.
There's a lot of benefits and mutual benefits that we are going to be seeing between Nigeria and Vietnam going forward.
Those in the Vice President's delegation include the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Ade Ikpanye, and Ambassador Adamu Mamani Hazard of the Nigerian High Commission in Vietnam. The two countries treasure their diplomatic ties, which started way back in 1976, and they have shown strong determination to create a balance of trade via a favorable conditions of imports and exports. In honor, Vietnam, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Thanks, Jide. Seems to be having fun there. Now, the federal government is requesting the United Nations and other international bodies to save developing countries like Nigeria from the clutches of rating agencies. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, made the appeal when the Deputy Secretary General of United Nations, Amina Mohammed, visited her in Abuja. Leah Katun Babatunde reports.
Nigeria, like many developing countries, has received downgrades and negative ratings from international rating agencies since the coming of COVID-19, whose impact is still reverberating. The World Bank, in its latest report, said debt service payments put biggest squeeze on poor countries since 2000, with International Development Association countries' debt service payments projected to top $62 billion in 2022. Finance, Budget and National Planning Minister Zainab Ahmed laments rating agencies were not considering the circumstances Nigeria and similar countries were operating in and have denied Nigeria the opportunity of accessing cheap loans from international creditors. She expresses that the ministry is engaging credit rating agencies and providing everything they ask for, but it seems as if it is not enough.
They themselves just need to do things differently. You cannot be making the same kind of assessments you were making when things were normal. Things are different. Things are not normal anymore. So we've seen some of our sister countries really hurt, like Ghana, because of the assessment of a credit rating agency. This year alone, we have had Nigeria being downgraded one notch. And unless these interventions are done at a very high international level, our countries that are developing will be the ones that carry the brunt.
The coming year will see Nigeria go to the polls as well as embark on census, and Nigeria is seeking support of the United Nations to make it work. In her brief remark, Mrs. Amina Mohammed cautioned the federal government on the planned review of fuel subsidy.
This is hugely important to the economy. However, it is one that has to be handled with care, and targeting effectively what one removes is important for people to understand that those perceived gains from subsidies are actually going to translate into their lives and work towards reducing poverty.
Revenue has been a nagging concern for the federal government, with this administration going in and out of recession twice and grappling with global and local economic troubles, hence the cry for help. In Abuja, Leakatin Babatunde.
Since 2018, the King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center has been extending support to the victims of insurgency in the northeast. 90,000 victims have been profiled by the National Emergency Management Agency NEMA to benefit from the 2022 King Salman donations. Ilyasu Yakubu has more.
Thousand households of internally displaced persons in 8 camps and host communities in Borno State are benefiting from the latest King Salman donations. The food basket of each of the household comprises a bag of rice, beans, masa vita flour, vegetable oil as well as condiments. The IDPs commended the King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center for the show of support to their plight.
Duka wanda sukan bada wannan ma Allah ya saka musu, Allah ya ba su.
Na yi godiya sosai wallahi Allah ba da Allah.
Mun ji daɗi mun murna.
The representative of King Salman Relief Center, Ali Yusuf Abdul Karim, said the center is passionate about providing relief assistance to the needy in the society. He said the center will continue to extend relief support to the victims of insurgency and banditry in the country.
This aid comes as an extension of the relief and humanitarian effort provided by the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Governor Babagana Umar Zulum of Borno State described the donation as a maximum show of love for the people in need.
Let me warn those that are in charge of the distribution exercise to ensure that this item reach the downtrodden.
Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, Mustafa Habib Ahmed, is confident that each of the households profiled by the agency will surely benefit.
As the saying goes, it is in time of crisis that real friends are identified. In this regard, the government and the people of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have proven to be real friends and brothers of Nigeria through their great benevolence to the country.
Aside the donation of food items to the IDPs in the northeast, the King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center had previously donated some digital equipment to NEMA for improved productivity. From Maiduguri in Borno State, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
Proceed on to Nationwide. Let's go over to Lagos, where Adiola is standing by with more reports. Hello, Adiola.
Thank you, Lydia. With about 79 days to the takeoff of the much anticipated 2023 general elections, sustaining public confidence in the electoral process remains critical at this time. To do that, one of the hurdles before the Independent National Electoral Commission is how to check the spate of attacks on its facilities and ensure election security.
Recent timeline of unprovoked attacks and wanton destruction of INEC facilities, which began about 4 months ago, has led to about 7 attacks in 5 states of the Federation so far. 2 recent instances in Osun and Ogun State, where about 904 ballot boxes and 65,699 yet to be collected voter cards were destroyed by vandals, indicate that the attacks may have spread to the southwest of the country. While noting that the Commission is working hard to roll back the impact of past attacks on the integrity of the coming polls, the INEC chairman is not at ease with the incidents.
Traditional and religious leaders and all well-meaning Nigerians should join hands in protecting these critical national assets. They shouldn't just be seen as INEC's facilities.
A recent directive by the Inspector General of Police calling on commissioners of police in states to activate the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security and provide better cover for INEC facilities appears not to have fully deterred the vandals following the most recent attacks at Oru West local government area of Imo State last Sunday.
INEC should have an infrastructure that has an effective access control management, whereby before you get access into the voting materials or the election materials, you will be arrested.
We citizens too, we in the media, must do everything possible to say that this is not allowed. And I think that destruction of INEC offices should be treated as an electoral offense.
What is the situation in Lagos State?
We're not unmindful of things that have been happening in other states of the Federation, and that has made us redouble our efforts to ensure that these facilities remain very safe.
Other Nigerians who weighed in on the issue want INEC to scale up on interagency protocols and preemptive measures that will forestall future episodes of attacks on its infrastructure. In Lagos, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
Lagos residents and traders have lamented the closure of Eko-Akpongbo Bridge, saying it is impeding free flow of traffic and subjecting them to untold hardship due to their inability to access places of work and shops freely. Rutheria Samuel monitored repair works on the bridge and now reports.
This is not the best of time for motorists and commuters plying the Akpongbo Bridge, particularly this Christmas period, as the bridge will not be open for traffic. Traders and residents lament the closure has left them trekking long distances with an increase in transport fare. Some commuters and commercial bus drivers express sadness that they spend several hours navigating the road while awaiting repairs. They argued that despite the alternative roads provided by the state government, there is no relief in sight.
It's already blocked. All this place, there's nowhere to go. Before, we are going, when you're going down under the bridge, there's from where you will come back to locate this place. But now, the place is already, tailors don't spoil everything.
They are coming in from Idumota. Do you know? They are coming in. So this is the only place. And this is the next place they are passed.
A visit to Akpongbo Bridge shows that the emergency repair work is ongoing, with engineers working round the clock to meet the deadline of May 2023.
We will not able to be up to that, but let's just put it, because we are working day and night. Work progress is very fast. As you can see now, we are almost 65% done with the work, and the remaining 35% in less than some weeks will be on the computer.
Meanwhile, the Lagos state government has assured residents of adequate traffic personnel on the alternative roads to control traffic while waiting for the completion of the bridge. In Lagos, Ruth Ariel Samuel, NTA News.
And those are the stories from the Center of Aquatic Splendor. We will be moving to the ancient city of Benin, where Ogochukwuka Ona is standing to give us stories from that zone. But do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. We'll be back after this break. To stay.
A new edition of TV Guide is out, featuring an impeccable personality with purposeful leadership, Alhaji Mohammed Mitakobi, the Executive National President of Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria.
In 774 local governments, will be able to put all our structures in everywhere. I'll be able to bring the retail members together, reconcile them to come and work for the progress of the association.
Welcome to a world of fun and excitement as we also present an assemblage of professionals in the media space. Some compelling NTA programs, current trends in the fashion world, ICT, sports, entertainment, and lots more. Get a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
This is the moment we've been waiting. It's time to rise up, do it again. Africa, do your dance now. Boy, do your winning dance now. So we never lose it again. Africa rise up, yes we gon' rise up. Africa rise up, Africa rise up, yes we gon' rise up. Africa rise up.
Stay tuned. Traders in a section of Lagos Street in the urban market district of Benin City are currently in a fix, counting huge losses following a late-night fire outbreak last night. Eugenia Divisi reports that the most affected are those who deal in cosmetic products.
The traders at number 16 Lagos Street in Benin could not hold back their tears as they lost almost all their goods to the inferno, which they say started few hours after they closed business for the day.
As we reach winners, that time my phone ring. Say where we dey? Say store the Borno. No, the hold on for Supply Road. Before we say we drive for Supply Road, reach here. And so we just see my sister.
When I came back, I saw that the fire was almost engulfing the building.
But thank God the firefighters were there fighting with the fire. Last, they didn't let the fire bring down the building.
Paul Omo and other victims could not really say what caused the fire outbreak, which destroyed goods worth billions of naira.
Those cheap goods that I get from inside, water from the gutter don't damage all the goods.
The state controller, Federal Fire Service, DCF Favor Gaba, who visited the scene, says men of the fire services responded to the distress call to them on time and suggest that substations be built in markets to forestall huge losses during fire outbreaks.
The two fire trucks were in the first fire before this one happened. So they had to tidy up there before they rush here. So we were prompt.
To avoid the huge losses incurred by these traders, experts advise installation of fire hydrants and hose reels in marketplaces. In Benin, Eugenia and BC, NTA News.
And now to our cherry news now. It is a new dawn for pensioners in Ekiti State as the state government promises to prioritize their welfare and ensure prompt payment of their gratuities and arrears. Governor Biodun Oyebanji disclosed this while receiving the delegation of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Ekiti State, at the government house at Ekiti. Eugenia Ukweze reports.
Governor Oyebanji, who observed the urgent need to promote the interests of the senior citizens in the scheme of things, noted that such gesture will not only enhance their well-being but also alleviate their challenges at old age. The governor, who acknowledged the submissions of the chairman of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners in Ekiti State on the delay in payments of pension arrears, non-remittance of check-off bills in the past, which has affected members' welfare, announced the composition of a committee to relate with the union and come up with possible resolutions and modalities that could help alleviate some of the challenges the pensioners are experiencing in the state.
The areas, we have a plan to pay them in the talks. Maybe I take your advice to respect your well-being.
The governor also played host to the representative of Muslim community in Ekiti State, led by the President, League of Imams and Alphas, Southwest, Edo and Delta States, where he solicited the support and cooperation of concerned stakeholders in his efforts to build a prosperous state. There were prayers from the Muslim leaders to help the new administration succeed in the task ahead, as well as supplications for peace and nation building. In Ado Ekiti, Eugenia Ukweze, NTA News.
And as our contribution from Benin, we now return to Lydia in Abuja for more.
Thank you, Ugo Chukwuka. Senate has resolved to slash the 2023 budget of ministries, departments and agencies of government that fail to appear before its Committee on Public Accounts. Ministries, departments and agencies of government are expected to appear before the Parliamentary Committee to defend queries raised by the Auditor General of the Federation and other issues including service-wide votes.
The committee has been mandated to look into it by inviting NDAs and persons that are charged with the responsibility of approving public funds for expenditure. The way we have had this problem, I have come to you, Mr. President, and today I have come to the floor of the Senate to say, in exercising our duties, we have been inviting agencies of government and accounting officers in these agencies or in the MDAs to come and let us know. Number one, there is ordinarily supposed to be a correspondence from that agency to give a reason why the chief executive officer is not able to appear. Then you give another date. Where there is no correspondence at all, you write a reminder.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is asking the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to fast-track geophysical survey in Bida Basin to ascertain the availability of hydrocarbon in the area. This is sequel to a motion from Representative Saidu Musa, who stated that the NNPC and the defunct Department of Petroleum Resources (DPR) had in 2020 unveiled a 2D seismic data acquisition in Bida Basin to commence oil exploration activities. The lawmakers are of the opinion that conclusion of the survey on the availability of hydrocarbon in commercial quantity in the basin is necessary, as studies reveal a strong presence of hydrocarbons as confirmed by bearing indicators. The exploration could add 40 billion barrels to Nigeria's oil reserves by 2023. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved a National Environmental Compliance Award to industries and agencies for voluntarily complying with set standards and regulations of the environment in their operations. Environment correspondent Onege Fineface reports that 16 industries in the food, beverages, chemicals and pharmaceutical sector stands out for environmental governance, environmental audit and corporate social responsibility in carrying out their operations. President Buhari, represented by his Chief of Staff, knows that the award serves as positive incentive to promote a healthy and safe environment for sustainable development in Nigeria.
Standard as set out in the Nigerian Act, government will continue to strengthen its enforcement mechanism, capability of Nigeria as it works towards a clean and sustainable environment.
I urge all Nigerians to take seriously the issue of the sustainability of our precious environment. Without a sustainable environment, food security will be in jeopardy. Unemployment will skyrocket. General insecurity will persist. Our public health will be in danger.
The agency has undertaken compliance monitoring to more than 10,000 corporate facilities, out of which 160 facilities were sealed for various infractions of the environment.
On the flip side, as organizations receive awards, Nigeria warns that it will also increase enforcement of environmental regulations and standards to check the excesses of defaulting groups and industries in the country. Nigeria is meeting up with its targets for environmental governance by emplacing policies, programs, and projects to make the environment healthy and safe for lives and livelihoods. At the 8th edition of the President Muhammadu Buhari administration scorecard presentation, Minister of Environment Mohammed Abdullahi highlighted key achievements in the sector. Negi Fineface reports.
Guide the Honorable Minister of Environment to the podium. Please permit me to digress a bit and to say categorically.
The Information and Culture Minister announced that the over 120 billion naira is proceeds from criminal financial operations since the bill on proceeds of crime recovery management was signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari in May this year.
That the administration's fight against corruption is very much on track. As you may already know, Mr. President signed into law the Proceeds of Crime, Recovery and Management Bill 2022 on the 12th of May 2022. That bill was one of the three which Mr. President signed into law that day. The other two are the Money Laundering, Prevention and Prohibition Bill 2022 and Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Bill 2022.
The Information Minister was emphatic that the funds will be used to fund critical projects around the country.
In line with the new law, all relevant agencies of government have now opened a confiscated and for future properties account with the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. I can confirm that so far, the federal government has realized over 120 billion naira, among other currencies, from poker. The money is being used to fund the completion of ongoing critical infrastructure projects in the country, like the second Niger Bridge, as well as Lagos-Ibadan and Abuja-Kano expressways. We will continue to update you on this.
Fielding questions from journalists, the Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abdullahi, who had his turn at the ongoing PMB scorecard 2015-2023, placed the blame on ecological problems and funding on the doorsteps of other tiers of government.
Initially, the federal government handles ecological funds, but the state argued that they must be given their own share of ecological funds. The federal government accepted, and at every flat allocation, they give their own share of allocation to states. So to come out and accuse the federal government of inaction is very unfair. Haven't gotten your fair share of your ecological funds over the years. So I find that very, very amusing, because each state is paid its share of ecological fund.
Next in line will be the turn of the Minister of Mines and Steel Development. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
That was Anthony Forson's report. Humanity has become a weapon of mass destruction. That warning came from United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres as parties to the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity meet in Canada for the 15th conference to agree on a post-2020 biodiversity framework for the protection of nature. Onege Fineface has that.
Nations Convention on Biodiversity, CBD's COP15 in Montreal, Canada, is a global effort at forging a new deal for nature to save the planet's forests, oceans, and species.
The scientists have underlined to us, this is our last chance to act. Otherwise, all of us will perish. And unfortunately, we have no planet B to go to.
Draft targets for the 10-year framework include a cornerstone pledge to protect 30% of the world's land and seas by 2030.
It's got a few days to act decisively and with principle. And action must be bold, not bracketed, so that we can get this deal done.
The official opening of COP15 follows several days of pre-negotiations that saw very little progress on key issues.
Ecosystems have become playthings of profit. With our bottomless appetite for unchecked and unequal economic growth, humanity has become a weapon of mass extinction. We are treating nature like a toilet, and ultimately we are committing suicide by proxy.
Finance is among the most divisive issues as developing nations demand increased funding for conservation, which wealthy nations are resisting. Onenge Fineface, NTA News.
The Nigerian and France armed forces are upscaling bilateral military relations in the areas of capacity building and intelligence sharing. This is the focus of a crucial engagement between the representatives of the two militaries at the defense headquarters in Abuja. The meeting, France military promised to support the ongoing counter-insurgency operation in the northeast of the country. The presidency has approved the immediate reform of healthcare system of the Nigerian armed forces. The Minister of Defense, Bashir Salihu Magashi, stated this in a message at an event organized by Defense Health Maintenance Agency to appraise its operations. The proposed reform targets improved health facilities that will cater for both serving and retired military personnel.
Our idea really is to see that the Armed Forces Medical Corps does not only serve during war situation, but we want to situate the Armed Forces Medical System as a reservoir medical system for the Nigerian healthcare delivery system that will contribute to the healthcare security of our country. We all know the role the armed forces medical system played, especially during the COVID pandemic in Nigeria. And I only want to see the armed forces medical corps play a bigger role in the near future.
This gathering is for us to have a review of the past 1 year of activity, identify challenging areas and find solutions to them so that we can perform better and give services more to our release, who are serving military officers and their families.
Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that a preliminary report for the reform has been submitted. The Federal Capital Territory Police Command has commenced investigations into reported case of security breach on Tuesday, 6th of December 2022, occasioned by armed robbery, shooting and abduction of some persons in Kubwa Relocation Estate off Arab Road area of the FCT. Asabe Williams will tell us more.
CP Babaji Sunday notes that the swift response of the command in an aggressive manhunt on the perpetrators resulted in the rescue of 3 victims and the recovery of firearms and ammunition, including 1 AK-47 rifle, 25 rounds of ammunition. Preliminary investigations, however, revealed that at about 7:30 p.m. of December 6, 2022, some armed criminals came into the Kubwa Relocation Estate, shot 2 victims, one Oshodi and another Abu Wahab, both other names unknown. The suspects, while departing the scene, left with 4 victims, possibly to enable them evade arrest by the approaching police response team deployed to the area on quick intervention.
We, due to the hot chase with giving those criminal elements, we were able to rescue some victims, about 3 victims.
The 2 gunshot victims were immediately rushed to the hospital for medical attention, but unfortunately one of them, Oshodi, could not survive as he was confirmed dead by the doctor, while Wahab is still being attended to. Meanwhile, the CP calls for calm, noting that the command has since deployed intelligence and other operational assets possible to fortify security in the entire Kubwa area and its environs in Abuja. Asabe Williams, NTA News.
It's time to go on another break. The news continues shortly. Don't go away.
Elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Now, what could make someone set out on a journey and not get to his or her destination? Now, imagine the victim who cannot reach out to this responders, who doesn't even have the phone to reach out. Hello, thank you very much for joining us on platform. I'm Ruth Agwe.
especially if the girl is a minor, she's not yet 18 years. If she gets pregnant, realize that such girl is sent out of school and the boy is left in school.
Just act to pick the call.
So how much sensitization is there, Paris?
I don't agree. A lot of people are just deaf.
Welcome back. A 3-day mentoring clinic that would assist in developing young leaders with 21st century leadership and governance skills has begun in Abuja. Olayinka Ojo reports that the training is at the instance of the Institute for Governance and Leadership Studies in Africa.
Africa has the youngest population in the world, with 70% in sub-Saharan Africa under the age of 30. And such a huge number of people is an opportunity for the continent's growth. But some challenges have continued to impede on their potential.
The problem we are faced with in Africa generally is the problem of leadership.
It is in realization of this fact that the Institute for Governance and Leadership Studies in Africa is advocating greater investment in youth leadership and governance, as it targets to train and build 1,200 leaders with better understanding of governance across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country in the next 1 year.
Enhance the interest of Nigerian leaders through volunteering to serve as mentors. This is an area for close and robust collaboration.
With 2023 elections around the corner, it is important that young people are included in decision making.
It will ensure sustainable development.
You have a strategy, you have a game plan, you have a reporting and a feedback template.
Ahmed Ohida is a participant at this pilot leadership clinic.
Discipline, integrity, and intelligence.
At the end of the 3-day governance and leadership mentoring clinic, lessons learned are expected to enhance youth participation in governance. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
The People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar says if he is elected come February 2023, he will engage the national and state assemblies to amend the constitution to accord traditional institutions across the country constitutional powers. He was speaking before the Oni of Ife, His Imperial Majesty Oba Adeyeye Eniton Babatunde Ogunwusi Ojaja II, in continuation of his nationwide consultations. Onotu Yakubu has details.
It was a homecoming to the Ile Oduduwa for the PDP presidential candidate, a chieftaincy title holder of Are Ademola of the Source in Ile Ife dynasty, and his spouse, Titi Atiku, who hails from Osun State. Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State told the people that Atiku represents Nigeria's only hope for the needed rescue and reconstruction.
When that comes, that passes. And that's what's going to happen during your election.
Speaking at the palace, Atiku Abubakar said his visit to the Oni was to pay respect to the revered royal father and custodian of the ancestral home of the Yorubas.
If the people of this country give us the mandate we are seeking, we promise to do much better and in fact excel over our records in office from 1999 to 2015. Your legacy is to serve these people. Your legacy is to give them better life. Anywhere you go to the north, they want to see prospect, they want to see prosperity, they want to see how to get to a better level in their life.
The PDP presidential candidate paid similar visits to the Owabokun Ademola of Ijesha land, Oba Gabriel Adekunle Aromolaran, and the Ataoja of Osogbo land, Oba Jimo Yetunji Olanipekun Laroye II. From Osogbo, Osun State, Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
Various groups in Nigeria are pledging commitment towards adding value to the nation's democratic development. Salu Gonara reports that Youth Empowerment Solutions, a non-governmental organization, has launched a campaign known as Value Your Vote Niger. The group promised to offer logistics support to encourage and facilitate collection of permanent voter cards by prospective voters and encourage them to actively participate in the electoral process.
Intervention will also be voter mobilization, which would now be for the actual election itself. So from now till February next year, we're going to be engaging with young people, going to communities, going to the streets and talking with young people and getting them ready, sensitizing them on the need for them to value their vote and ensure that they vote in the forthcoming election. We intend to set up what we call a youth situation room. And the purpose of this is to monitor the end goal of getting young people of some of the exercise we've done. So we intend that in the process of engaging with young people between now and before the election day.
Encouraging the political gladiators to play the game of politics according to the rules, devoid of rancor, was also emphasized. The Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has struck out the People's Democratic Party PDP case against the All Progressives Congress APC and their Accord Party in Rivers State for lack of merit. Robinson Derateide reports that PDP had approached the court to stop APC and Accord Party for contravening electoral acts in conduct of their primary elections.
It was a twin verdict at the Federal High Court Port Harcourt Division, Rivers State, as Justice Turake Mohammed and Justice Ayuba Fob gave a similar judgment on the case of PDP against APC and PDP against Accord Party. The PDP had filed a case against the two political parties for not following the electoral guidelines in the conduct of their primary elections. In the case of PDP against APC, Justice Turake Mohammed held that the court does not have the jurisdiction to continue with the case since there have been previous judgments that no political party has the right to interfere in the internal affairs of another party.
But last week we had judgments from all over party divisions of Nigeria to the effect that a political party cannot sue another political party prior into its primaries. And based on that, we have to commend authorities to the judge by way of filing additional authorities, and based on that, he was striking out the case for want of jurisdiction. So he could toast to the principle of fair decisis. By this case now, APC is now in ballot. No more impediment on as to the candidate or congresses or whatever. So APC is free now to go and campaign.
Justice Ayuba Fob, in the case of PDP against Accord Party, sustained the preliminary objection of the Defense Counsel and held that PDP filed the case outside the 14 days provided by the Constitution and that PDP lacked the local standing to challenge the internal affairs of Accord Party.
And it's a victory for the democracy and an encouragement for the masses that they should have confidence in Nigeria's democracy and the judiciary.
Efforts to speak with the councils of the PDP, which were the plaintiff in the matter, failed. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Derateide, NTA News.
The media are traditionally regarded as major information sources for the public. Therefore, when fake news item is disseminated, it is negatively viewed by the public. To ensure that journalists covering court proceedings report accurately, a capacity-building workshop was organized by the National Judicial Institute, Abuja, for them to re-examine the effectiveness of Freedom of Information Act 2011 and media ethics in the social media age.
Respondents, you are admonished to imbibe and apply the ethics of the pen profession and use the social media in a manner that will preserve the dignity of the court in particular and the impartiality, the independence of the judiciary in general.
Usually what you see in the news is you just get a reporter who tells you what transpired inside the court. But we don't see exactly what happened in the court, the rulings. We don't even see the cases of the judges. They cannot grant interview. It's the bar that speak for them.
It has been made abundantly clear that the media and the judiciary play crucial roles in every nation, and that their functions and survival are intrinsically linked.
Questions on media freedom under the Cybercrime Act and using emotional intelligence for result-oriented news gathering also featured at the meeting, where journalists were enjoined to always consider national interest in their reportage. Nigeria's governors' wives have resolved to take stronger stand against sexual and gender-based violence in their states through awareness. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim reports that this was during their annual conference of the Forum to End Sexual and Gender-Based Violence in Nigeria.
Women from all walks of life and spouses of state governors here joined in global clarion call to end the menace of sexual and gender-based violence.
We recognize that as humanitarian actors, there was need to pay special attention to gender-based violence, GBV, and implement responses that better address women and girls' rights and needs.
In June 2020, Nigeria Governors' Wives came together to establish the Nigerian Governors' Wives Against Gender-Based Violence Forum. 3 years down the line, the women say they are on track to bringing an end to this scourge.
We cannot say we are standing in solidarity with survivors when perpetrators are allowed to go scot-free. We must do something.
Our hope now is that whoever comes next under the new administration will continue to prioritize gender equality and the fight against gender-based violence.
We see it as our duty, and that of everyone who seeks a just and equitable society, to ensure that women and girls have opportunities not just to participate, but also to lead in all aspects of life.
We need to come up with correct policies and strategies that will work together to fight, protect, and provide services that will ensure accountability.
So far, 34 states and the FCT have domesticated the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
For sports, let's now join Sonny Ubo at the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba, for some sports reports.